What's a monster film without its human characters? Well, for starters, it's probably not a very good one, as the main highlight of any banger monster movie has always lied in the human element, something that allows us to come up with fresh perspectives, adding to the eerie sense of danger, and most importantly, tying us to the plot with gripping and relatable characters. Until now, Legendary's MonsterVerse has always struggled to maintain a balance with the human-to-monster ratio in their films, because who wants to see the humans grab all the attention in a Titan flick? Apart from that, MonsterVerse has also had a tough time finding human characters that really grab focus. That's why they keep changing the main cast in each movie, because often, the human story doesn't quite match up with the monster plot, which can make it hard for viewers to stay interested. But earlier this year, Monarch: Legacy of Monsters managed to crack the code on this one, and to top that off, the newest MonsterVerse edition, Godzilla x Kong: The New Empire, practically nailed it by putting emphasis on the monsters whilst allowing its human characters to play a key role in the bigger picture. Now, humans and monsters in this franchise have always found a way to correlate with one another, as seen with the people of the Iwi tribe. But weren't they completely wiped out from Skull Island, leaving only Gia as the sole survivor in the last film? Apparently not, because the Iwi tribe plays a crucial role in the new Godzilla x Kong, and that's exactly what we're going to discuss today. So without wasting another moment, let's get right into it. But before we get into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. It's a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. How does Godzilla x Kong set up the significance of the Iwi tribe within the plot? If you've watched all the MonsterVerse films, you already know that the Iwi are Titan worshippers who we first met in Kong, Skull Island. Until Godzilla x Kong was released, humanity believed that the Iwi tribe lived in the seclusion of Skull Island and were indigenous people who worshipped Kong and his kind as their true protectors. But eventually, due to human intervention, this tribe was completely wiped out of existence, leaving behind just one deaf and mute Iwi girl named Gia, who was the last of her kind. Gia carried the same bond her people had developed with Kong, and even connected with the ape on their shared sense of loss and loneliness. In Godzilla vs. Kong, Gia was adopted by Dr. Eileen Andrews after Kong had to go back to Hollow Earth, the realm where his ancestors originally lived before they fled to Skull Island. Now, initially, in the new film, Kong discovered clues in the Hollow Earth that showed his species once thrived there. However, the big guy was very sad that they no longer existed. Even though he had a home in the Hollow Earth, Kong was struggling to settle in and longed to meet others like him. This was similar to Gia's situation, who felt like an outsider without her Iwi tribe. She's struggling to fit into modern society while going to a Monarch school in Barbados. On the other hand, Eileen is doing her best to manage Monarch by making public appearances to reassure everyone that the Titans are under control and not a threat, as they are exactly where they should be. However, things get tricky when a strange signal starts coming from an unknown part of the Hollow Earth, and matters only get worse when this signal starts affecting Gia. The poor girl starts having episodes and visions, blacking out for a significant amount of time, only to wake up and find weird patterns drawn by her. While Gia believes she's losing her mind, Eileen assures her that they'll work through this together, no matter what. But these signals don't affect just Gia, because Godzilla has also woken up from his power nap during the same time, leaving everyone at Monarch perplexed. Desperate for answers about the mysterious signal, Eileen then seeks help from Bernie Hayes, a conspiracy theorist and podcaster who was involved in defeating Mechagodzilla in Hong Kong. Bernie confirms that the seismic readings Monarch has been getting matched to the patterns Gia has been drawing and believes it's an SOS. In exchange for being allowed to join the mission to Hollow Earth, Bernie teams up with Eileen and then flies to the Monarch base, where, to everyone's surprise, Kong has come up from the Hollow Earth. Even though the big guy came up for a dental appointment, Monarch is concerned that Kong's presence might have triggered Godzilla's awakening in Rome. So, Eileen calls in a favor from Trapper, a veterinarian and a Titan enthusiast, to fix Kong's infected tooth with a metallic replacement. But this still doesn't explain what's going on at the other side, as they can't get in touch with the Monarch outpost inside the Hollow Earth. This motivates Eileen, Trapper, Bernie, and Gia to hitch a ride with Kong to figure out where the distress signal is actually coming from. After a psychedelic journey to Hollow Earth, the group does their best not to disturb the ecosystem of the realm and uses their biomimicry camouflage technique to blend in with the verticenes, yellow and black striped bird-like creatures that shoot deadly electrical charges. After tracking down the Monarch outpost, they find it completely destroyed with all scientists dead. So, Eileen decides to waste no time and follow the distress signal with Gia's help. As they explore deeper into the Hollow Earth, the group comes across a hidden ancient temple with a Mothra symbol on it. Somehow, a stone on the temple's wall calls to Gia, and as soon as she shifts it, water flows out of the temple's crevices, guiding them further inside. Gia mentions that this temple was built by the ancient Iwi and is possibly centuries old. So basically, it gives us a clear idea that the Iwi tribe and culture originated in Hollow Earth and later migrated to Skull Island. Perhaps the Iwi prefer to keep themselves separate from human civilization because there is a possibility for their culture to be the first ever human society to exist on Earth. Anyways, following the temple's design, they find a large glowing organic membrane, which seems to be acting as a protection barrier to camouflage something. Gia rips open the membrane to reveal a hidden group of Iwi, kept safe from the rest of Hollow Earth and its feral inhabitants. Why are the Iwi tribe a crucial part of Titan lore? As Gia explores the hidden civilization, initially the Iwi are hostile to them and take the group to their queen. But soon they learn that this Iwi civilization has been protected inside Hollow Earth for centuries, and they worship Mothra. When the queen of the Iwi calls for Gia, we find out that the Iwi communicate telepathically, have their own personal Hollow Earth portal which leads to Egypt, and are weirdly strong because their energy source comes from some sort of quartz crystal that allows them to manipulate the realm's gravitational anomalies. Apparently, the beacon Monarch has been following all this time was sent by them to alert Godzilla and their savior of the impending danger. Now, who is the savior? Well, the Iwi take the group inside a cave where the walls are carved with a prophecy written in Iwi language. Dr. Andrews, who's fluent in the dialect, reads out the prophecy which dictates how many years ago Godzilla fought an ancient villain named the Scar King, a malevolent and conniving foe who wanted to dominate the entire world. It was actually this guy who chased Kong's species from Hollow Earth to Skull Island, so the ones who couldn't make it out were enslaved by the Red Ape. Of course, the big G-Man won the fight, but only after a lot of struggle could he defeat the Red Ape and banish him and his army to the fiery depths of the Hollow Earth. Ever since, Scar King has unjustly ruled the remaining great apes of the subterranean realm while enslaving Shimo to do his bidding. Scar has been patiently biding his time for centuries, waiting for an opportunity to open up that would allow him to go to the surface world and take it over by completely annihilating humanity. Now, with Monarch's intervention inside Hollow Earth and Kong's arrival, he finally has the window to establish his tyrannical regime. This is where Gia comes into the scene as a key element because apparently none of the Iwi people can revive Queen Mothra. The prophecy also mentions an Iwi savior from Skull Island who will come to Hollow Earth and reawaken the queen. And since Gia is the only surviving Iwi from the storm that ravaged her people in Skull Island, the Iwi of Hollow Earth knew that Gia was the savior they needed to complete the prophecy. This explains why Gia had been getting the visions of the Iwi while she was at school. Now, it's on her to raise Mothra so the queen can help Godzilla and Kong fight the Scar King and end his world-annihilating schemes. Without wasting much time, the Iwi queen starts preparing Gia for the ritual to reawaken Mothra, while Kong, after recovering from his battered fight with the Scar King, goes to the surface world in search of Godzilla. Well, the big guy does manage to track the G-Man down, but the latter is too pissed to listen to any reason and starts fighting Kong, even though the Great Ape is just trying to have a civil conversation with the King of Kaijus. Now, Kong's too weak to fight Godzilla, but he doesn't have any other choice. Luckily, Gia reaches out to Mothra just in time, and using her link, she telepathically communicates with the Queen of Kaijus, asking for her protection against the Scar King. Following this, Mothra swiftly flies up to the surface world and stops the fight between Godzilla and Kong. Seems like G-Man listens to nobody but his queen. Plus, I think for a split second, Godzilla was even a bit surprised to see Mothra, but after she explains the situation to him and convinces him to join Kong in defeating the Scar King, the Titans swiftly jump into the Hollow Earth to stop the red ape-shaped menace. In the meantime, Scar King arrives at the Iwi hideout on top of Shimo and his ape army. While he attacks, the Iwi don't just wait around. In fact, they use their highly advanced technology to try and stop the cave's gravitational pull. But Shimo uses her frost breath to freeze the Iwi crystal pyramids in order to stop them from colliding and causing a shift in the cave's gravity. The Iwi then resort to using their ancient technology to activate a certain device within their hideaway, which merges the frozen crystal pyramids at the heart of their sanctuary and reverses the cave's gravity. This is when Kong and Mothra came back with Godzilla to Hollow Earth. All the Titans engage in a 2-on-1 battle. Queen Mothra, on the other hand, keeps doing what she does best. She protects the Iwi from any attack while also saving Godzilla from freezing solid when Shimo shoots him with her frostbite breath. When the cave's gravity reverts back to normal, Scar King uses the opportunity to slip into the Iwi's Hollow Earth portal and hauls his and Shimo's asses to the surface. Now, with her job done, Mothra stays behind in Hollow Earth in order to protect the humans, while Godzilla and Kong follow Scar King and Shimo for the final battle. The best part of this scene was how Mothra acted as a key mediator for all the incidents that led up to the main Titan clash at the end of the film, resulting in Scar King's defeat. Because who are we kidding? If Gia didn't raise the queen, and had she not spoken some sense into her G-Man, he would have probably killed Kong for just trying to reach a middle ground to team up against the Scar King. Gia's connection with Mothra sets up an exciting future for the Daikaiju in the Monsterverse. By retaining Gia and the Iwi tribe's significance in the Monsterverse, Godzilla x Kong did a banger job for setting up the Queen's return to the plot. In Godzilla, King of the Monsters, Mothra had sacrificed her life's essence to save Godzilla, allowing him to transform into a powerful thermonuclear form in order to defeat King Ghidorah and save the Earth. After this heroic sacrifice, we were all eagerly awaiting her return to the franchise because, if you remember, the end credits scene of Godzilla King of the Monsters had a newspaper clipping that hinted that Monarch had recently discovered what seemed to be a Mothra egg, suggesting that she could live on through her offspring. This setup, combined with director Michael Dougherty's comments about Mothra's life cycle, was what created the anticipation for her return. However, the Monsterverse took a different route, and instead of using the egg that Monarch had presumably found, the story revealed that Mothra's resurrection was tied to the ancient Hollow Earth Temple, a code which could only be cracked by Gia. Now, Mothra's lore has always included the twin fairy priestesses known as the Shobijin, who acted as intermediaries between Mothra and humanity ever since their debut in the 1961 Toho movies. While this fantasy element might seem challenging to portray in the grounded Monsterverse, Godzilla King of the Monsters hinted that Monarch researchers Dr. Chen and Dr. Ling were the twin counterparts to Mothra's Shobijin. Similarly, in Godzilla vs. Kong, director Adam Wingard takes a more direct approach by referencing Gia as the Shobijin, thus allowing her to interact with Mothra and mediate among the three Alpha Titans. It's a very respectful homage to one of the sillier elements of Mothra's legacy and opens up opportunities for Gia to play many more significant roles amidst the future Titan-level events in the Monsterverse. Furthermore, it also sets up a lot of potential for us to learn more about the Iwi within the Monsterverse mythology through Gia's character, and we can understand how the tribe has been interwoven with the Protector Titans since the beginning of time. Unlike previous Godzilla movies, where Mothra often sacrificed herself heroically for the greater good of the world, Godzilla vs. Kong ends with Mothra still alive and thriving inside Hollow Earth. Throughout her long history in various films, Mothra has shown a willingness to give her life for the greater cause, resulting in tragic but heroic deaths in movies like Mothra vs. Godzilla, Godzilla Final Wars, Godzilla Tokyo SOS, Godzilla, Mothra and King Ghidorah, Giant Monsters All-Out Attack, and more recently, Godzilla, King of the Monsters. However, Godzilla vs. Kong took a different approach by allowing Mothra to survive, making it easier for the Monsterverse to bring her back in future appearances. In many Mothra-centric movies, there's often a quest to awaken her, so Godzilla vs. Kong didn't shy away from following this pattern. However, since Mothra won't need to be resurrected for her next appearance in the Monsterverse, we might see significantly less of the Iwi, given that Adam Wingard has already used the Iwi tribe to lay the groundwork for her character. So, if there's a Godzilla vs. Kong 3, Mothra could be present right from the start, allowing her to play a continuous role throughout the movie instead of making a dramatic entrance near the end. Furthermore, Godzilla vs. Kong: The New Empire set the stage for an even larger team-up in the next installment of the franchise, because after defeating Scar King, Kong is seen riding Shimo in his new Hollow Earth home. This hints at the potential for a team-up involving at least 4 heroic titans in a future movie, hinting that the next antagonist in the Monsterverse may face the combined might of Godzilla, Kong, Mothra, and Shimo. That being said, we still believe that the Iwi lore will be on the sidelines of any future Monsterverse sequel, given that Gia's character is the only connection humanity directly has with the Protector Titans. But what do you guys think? Let us know in the comments section down below, and if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Thanks for watching, stay safe out there, and have a Titanic day!